Good afternoon and welcome to Africa Today. I am Ainan Lubem. First, the headlines. On the headlines, FG hits INEC election to hold. Away from shores of Nigeria, Burkina Faso expels French ambassador. Ethiopia regulator decries journalist harassment. While on sports news, DR Congo pulls out of CAF regional competition. And now the news in detail. The federal government has assured Nigerians that the 2023 general elections will hold as scheduled next month. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed gave the assurance at the 17th edition of President Muhammadu Buhari's scorecard series from 2015 to 2023 in Abuja, the nation's capital. The minister's assurance came in the wake of the Independent National Electoral Commission, that is INEC's alarm that the 2023 polls could be postponed or cancelled if the growing wave of election-related insecurity across the country was not checked. The 2023 general election is billed to take place on February 25, 2023. The federal government of Nigeria has said it would step up its surveillance at all the country's international airports and trigger the now relaxed scientific approach, including asking travelers to fill health forms in addition to checking their temperature in response to the surge in the spread of COVID-19. Minister of Health, Osage Hanire, disclosed this on Tuesday while speaking at the 17th edition of the PMB administration scorecard. He said the government's response to the latest spike would be guided by science through creating awareness and involving the public with increasing vaccination. The minister also insisted that Nigeria would ban travelers from China from entering the country over the rising cases that are suspected to be triggered by variants linked to the dominant Omicron strain. He said the government is seeking to improve the condition of service for health workers, including allowances and remuneration that doctors don't just really receive grade-level salary but pay to other workers, but their performance can indeed be measured and be rewarded for the work done. 3 days after the kidnap of 32 persons from the Tom Ikimi train station in Igwem, Edo State, another victim, a woman, has reportedly been rescued by security agencies combing the area. This is even as the Minister of State for Transportation, Ademola Adegoroye, disclosed that railway and host community security committees would be established as part of efforts to curb incidents of armed attacks on the nation's rail infrastructure and passengers.
What we need to do is to ensure that we cross our T's and dot our I's regarding the safety and security of our people and passengers. We are going to set up. One of the things we have also decided at this meeting is to ensure that within the next few days all over the country we will clear the bushes around all our train stations. There are also steps we must take to ensure even better security. For example, perimeter fencing. It's on the cards. It's not arising from this meeting. It's been on the cards. Nobody was shot. Nobody was maimed. Okay, they were shooting into the air and they were not shooting our passengers. And I thank God for that. But let me assure you that whether the figure is 31 or the figure is 29, these are security issues which we cannot all volunteer. But I can assure you that we know, we have an idea of those who were kidnapped.
This came on a day Managing Director of Nigerian Railway Corporation, that is the NRC, Fidet Okira, attributed the attack to sabotage, adding that the corporation was yet to complete its security architecture of train stations across the country when this latest attack occurred.
But you have seen, we have not, when we are there, the train passed. I don't think it's good to shut down the operation. It will not go, it's not good for the Nigerian spirit. So we never give up. I don't think we will give up. While they are planning, we will also be planning to ensure that we don't have such a situation again. No, but we just not stopping here for now till we know what is actually happened. Then we'll come back, maybe within the next 1 week.
But I think the government can do better.
Vice Chairman of Senate Committee on Land Transport, Nicholas Tofomowo, has called on the federal government to establish railway police at every station to curb attacks on rail passengers and stations across the country. A fire outbreak incident has been reported at the St. Peter's Minor Seminary, Kateri, situated on the Kaduna-Abuja Road, Kaduna State. In a press release by the Kaduna Archdiocesan Chancellor, Father Christian Emmanuel, 2 dormitories, a dining hall, a kitchen, and a laboratory were razed down by the fire. The incident reportedly occurred on Monday, according to a report by the seminary media. The cause of the fire, however, was uncertain as at the time of the press release. The Chancellor said further information will be communicated in due course. When we return, news from other parts of West Africa. Don't go away. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to news from other parts of West Africa. And now to Gambia, thousands of people turned out in the Gambian capital on Tuesday for the official funeral of a pro-democracy activist who died in custody in 2016 following a protest against former dictator Yahya Jammeh. Reports show that mourners lined the streets of Banjul as police passed by carrying the flag-draped coffin of Solo Sandeng in a ceremony that revived memories of Jammeh's brutal rule.
Solo was a catalyst to our newfound democracy. He inspired the masses to expressly desire and vote for change and freedom. Solo's legacy has inspired us in our current security sector. Solo's legacy has inspired us in our current security sector change and freedom. Solo's legacy has inspired us and vote for change and freedom. Solo's legacy has inspired us in our current security sector reforms and the transitional justice process as a whole.
The dictator held sway over the tiny West African state for 22 years until he was defeated in presidential elections in December 2016 by political newcomer Adama Barrow and fled to Equatorial Guinea. Sangdeng died in custody in April 2016 at the age of 57 after organizing a protest calling for the return to democracy. The Gambian authorities have charged Jammeh with murder, rape, torture, and corruption. However, he retains substantial clout back home. Barrow's government, which won elections in 2016 and again in 2021, has yet to fully implement recommendations made by a Truth and Reconciliation Commission in 2021. France's deputy foreign minister on a visit to jihadist-torn Burkina Faso denies accusation that Paris is seeking to meddle in the already troubled former colony. Speaking after her exchange with junta leader Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Junior Minister Chrysola Zacharopoulou affirms that France is imposing nothing on Burkina Faso. The talks between two countries comes as a response to mounting pressure due to accusations of neocolonialism and a growing anti-French sentiment encouraged by Captain Traoré and critics demanding closer ties with Moscow. Burkina Faso is reeling from a jihadist insurgency that swept in from neighboring Mali in 2015. Last week, French Ambassador Luc Haladi was asked to leave. This comes a year after Mali's junta also ejected France's ambassador there. More than a third of the country lies outside the government's control. We now move to other parts of Africa after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to news from other parts of Africa. Rights group Amnesty International has called on Ethiopia's authority to immediately and unconditional release and drop charges against 4 human rights defenders detained for their work documenting forced evictions. Daniel Tesfaye Bizoaheyi Wendimu, Bereket Daniel and Nahom Hussein, who work for the Ethiopian Human Rights Council, that is the EHRCO, were arrested on Thursday while investigating cases of forced eviction in the capital, Addis Ababa. They were accused of not having the necessary permission to carry out their work. According to the Amnesty Group, the Ethiopian authorities have not commented on the matter. Amnesty said the Ethiopian police had told the EHRCO that they were not allowed to carry out right investigations in the region and were only permitted to offer humanitarian assistance. The World Health Organization, WHO, is expected to declare the Uganda recent Ebola outbreak over today if no new cases are reported. According to WHO guidelines, an outbreak is declared over if there are no new infections within 42 days. Uganda has recorded 142 cases, including 56 deaths, since the Ebola outbreak was announced in September. The Sudan strain of the virus, unlike the Zaire strain that has caused outbreaks in neighboring Congo in recent years, has no proven vaccine, but trials are to get underway in the coming days for a potential vaccine.
What we have seen in Uganda is that they have built trust in the community over years, so that when the outbreak occurred and people are being told what to do, they are not seeing it from a suspicious eye, and conspiracy theorists could not be able to overcome and cause fear among them. So very, very important that community members must be directly involved. We must build trust in the community, not just for Ebola, but for everything else, including the routine vaccines, fear among them. So very, very important that community members must be directly involved. We must build and cause fear among them. So very, very important that community members must be directly involved. We must build trust in the community, not just for Ebola, but for everything else, including the routine vaccination.
The 2022 Uganda outbreak, the first in a decade of the less common Sudan strain, is a chance for clinical trials of the 3 vaccines donated by the US-based Sabin Vaccine Institute, University of Oxford, and Merck. Ebola, which can sometimes manifest as a hemorrhagic fever, spreads through contact with bodily fluids of an infected person or contaminated materials. The World Health Organization has said the fatality rate of the current outbreak is about 40%. A Kenyan media outlet has shared camera footage of the moment 4 police officers allegedly attempted to rob 2 people of 2 million Kenyan shillings on a street in the capital, Nairobi. The victims were employees of a forex bureau and had withdrawn the money from a nearby bank. The attempted robbery was foiled after they raised an alarm. The policemen were later arrested after their colleagues intercepted their vehicle. They were arraigned in court on Tuesday to answer to charges of attempted robbery. Up next is business news on Africa Today. Stay with us. Welcome back, and on business news, the federal government of Nigeria has disbursed about 173.2 billion naira for the equalization of over 11.6 billion liters of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, between 2019 and 2022. Data obtained from the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources show that PMS price equalization is done by the federal government through the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, in which the NMDPRA ensures price uniformity of petrol products via the reimbursement of marketers for trucking products to filling stations anywhere in Nigeria. A document obtained by newsmen from the FMPR in Abuja on the scorecard of the ministry since 2019 showed that over 173.2 billion naira had been disbursed to equalize the cost of petrol nationwide. Despite the hundreds of billions spent on PMS price equalization, the cost of the commodity has hardly been equal in various states outside Lagos and Abuja. Currently, for instance, the price of petrol at mega station owned by major marketers in Abuja and Lagos hovers between 179 naira and 180 naira per litre. But the cost of the commodity in many independent retail outlets in the state is usually higher than 250 naira per litre. The price disparity across states has lingered for years, as one hardly gets the commodity at the same cost in all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Still talking business, International Monetary Fund, that is the IMF, has said corruption had inflated the cost of numerous high-profile tenders and infrastructure projects in Zambia. At the request of local authorities, an IMF Interdepartmental Government Diagnostics Assessment Mission conducted last year a study focused on governance weaknesses and corruption vulnerabilities. The assessment revealed serious weakness across all state functions. However, those with particular macroeconomic impact were found in areas including public financial management, granting and managing contracts in the mining sector. The IMF Diagnostics says corruption became particularly institutionalized during 2016 to 2021 period. Zambia's current leader vowed upon his election 2 years ago to show zero tolerance for graft. Hakainde Hichilema's first targets were members of the government of his predecessors. Many arrests, however, ended in bail, with defenders denying the charges. Still to come is sports news. Stay with us.
Very good afternoon to you and welcome to Sport News on Africa Today. I am Richard Badung. Following an elongated match day one action, the Nigerian Professional Football League has rescheduled some of the season's games to make up for the lost time in the early days of the abridged 2022-2023 season. The projected end date of the league is not affected, as the organizers created one more midweek round of matches to meet up with the March 14 date or the May 14 date. According to the previous calendar, the regular season had 3 midweek matches on the match day 2, 5 and 11, while match day 8 has now been earmarked for midweek in the new calendar to make the number of midweek games 4. The readjustment began with the pushback of one of the match day 1 encounters between Nasarawa United and Enyimba to Saturday, January 14, while the other match day 1 fixtures will be played on Sunday, January 15. A Super 6 playoff will follow to determine the champions of the league and the winners of available continental slots. Still talking sports, a key official of Orlando Pirates has insisted that the absence of Nigeria's Super Eagles defender Olisa Indah is a setback for the team. Indah joined the South African Premier League club in 2021 after helping Nigeria-based club Aqua United to the PFL title in 2021. He has been cut off of action in the past few weeks due to unspecified injury, and the club is hoping to have him back before the end of this month. Federation of the Congolese Football Association, that is FECOFA, has confirmed the withdrawal of its under-17 team from the UNIFAC regional qualifier for the 2023 Under-17 African Cup of Nations. The federation announced its withdrawal through a statement after 25 out of the 40 players presented failed the compulsory magnetic resonance imaging, that is MRI test. Even only 5 players from 15 that passed the test were able to complete the administrative screening that will allow them to travel to Cameroon for the qualifier. Only 4 countries will now participate, including Congo, Brazzaville, Chad, Central African Republic, and host Cameroon will now take part in the qualifying competition, which is fixed for the 12th to 24th of January 2023. 2 teams are expected to qualify for the Under-17 AFCON finals in Algeria. And that's your sport news on Africa Today. Back to Ainan Lubem for the rest of the news. I am Richard Badung.
Thank you, Richard Badung, for the sports news. And now to the rest of the bulletin. The Lagos State Police Command has confirmed the arrest of 2 female suspects in connection with the disappearance of a baby at the State Criminal Investigation Department, that is the SCID, in Yaba. The State Police Public Relations Officer Benjamin Hundain, who spoke to newsmen, however, said the baby had yet to be found. It was also reported that a policeman attached to the SCID, Samuel Ukpabio, took the child from his mother, Fortune Obafuso, while claiming to be acting for a government ministry. Obafuso said on Friday, December 23, 2022, when she was delivered of her baby, the policeman arrested her and took her alongside her children, including the newborn, to the SCID on the allegation that she wanted to sell the baby, a claim she denied. Meanwhile, the country director, Amnesty International Nigeria, Osai Ojigo, said the manner Obafucha was treated by the police was appalling, adding that justice must prevail and the baby returned. And that's Africa Today, but before we go, here are the top stories once again. Earlier we told you police deploy directors in unity schools. French and Burkina Faso expels French ambassador. Ethiopia regulator decries journalist harassment. While on sports, Congo pulls out of the Under-17 tournament. Remember to visit us on Facebook, Hills TV, Instagram, and follow our YouTube channel at Hills TV. I am Ainan Lubem. Thank you for listening.